Okay, I just want to thank everybody that's here, and please give my secretary, Gwen Jackson, your name so that we can send minutes to you after it's all done. There's not very much I need to talk to you about as a group, but personally, I will be calling each conference president because there's certain things that I would have to talk to them about and maybe not with nobody else. Is Julie on?
Yes.
Okay.
I am, Ernestine.
Okay, that's something that's very important. I want you to tell them about the program, the bed program, because it has completely changed from what we all know it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Your show.
Okay, thanks, Ernestine.
You're welcome.
So you all know that we stopped the bed program during the pandemic, and that happened for a couple of reasons. The first was we couldn't conduct home visits, which we thought was essential to providing beds to our neighbors. And the second reason was because we were focusing our funds on helping with those things that we prioritized as being most important. And those things were housing, utilities, and food assistance for our neighbors. We've heard our Vincentians say back, we're ready for the bed program to come back. And so we are bringing it back with the approval of the district presidents and the entire board of directors, but we're bringing it back in a new format. We are creating a new voucher that is specifically for the bed program. And it's pretty much one voucher equals one bed. You have the option of selecting whether you want it to be a twin bed set or a full bed set for your neighbor. But each voucher provided to a neighbor gets them one bed. And the reason for that is it allows this to be a sustainable program. The bed program had become somewhat of a runaway train because we gave out vouchers and let them be used at will. And we had no idea what was out there and what was being spent until after it was done. So while we're bringing it back, we are trying to bring it back in a controlled method so we can still focus on housing, utilities, and food because we're not quite out of this pandemic yet, and see how this new method goes. So we first talked with the district presidents about it, and Ernestine and another district president agreed to come down to the council office and help us find a new way to run this program so that it could benefit our neighbors, but we could keep it sustainable over time. And what we did with Ernestine's help, and Judy Belford was our other district president, was that we looked at the data from 2019. We looked at conference use, we looked at district use. We looked at how many vouchers were given out versus how many vouchers were redeemed. We had some conferences giving out a lot of vouchers and neighbors not redeeming them. So what we really looked at for the most part was that redemption rate through conferences. And Judy and Ernestine suggested that we use the percentage distributed or handed out in 2019 to guide us for 2022 for this current fiscal year. So your district president, once those vouchers are ready and once we've completed all of our district meetings, because we're using these meetings to get the word out, your district president, once the voucher is finished, which I hope will be in the month of November. It takes a long time to print in quadruplicate. I'm not even sure what you call it, but where there's multiple copies. So we are getting ready to go to print and the voucher has been created, but Ernestine will get vouchers to distribute to her conferences. The other thing, this came more from Judy Belford in her district, and she said, we've got many conferences that don't need the vouchers. They've got the funds in their treasury and they can use the regular thrift store voucher to purchase beds for their neighbors. So ultimately, we're leaving that up to the district president to determine how to best get them out to the conferences who need the vouchers. And that will lie for your district with Ernestine. Once she has those, she'll be able to distribute them. We're encouraging district presidents to distribute them all immediately so that conferences who need them can use them. A few things that is important for you to know. One, if you get bed vouchers and you don't end up needing them, you can you can twin them to another conference in your district or outside of your district. If you go through all of your vouchers and you need more, you can use the regular voucher, and that would go at the normal rate of the conference paying 70%, either through cash or credits, and the council paying 30%. And the last thing is, if you still have a couple at the end of the fiscal year, they would carry over until the next fiscal year. So they don't expire or anything like that. You can continue to use them. And then we will evaluate next year, again, hopefully with Ernestine and Judy, since they're walking us through this process. We're hoping to keep them in the loop and help us determine if our new strategy is working and how we need to amend it to make it as user-friendly as possible. But it's a very simple voucher to complete. I have a couple of other updates, Ernestine, if you don't mind me giving those now.
No problem.
Very good. One is we heard from Vincentians that they wanted to be able to pay Spire automatically or electronically. And so we did host a couple of Zoom sessions in September to get us started on that process with Spire. If you were able to attend, that's great. If you were not able to attend, we have put the instructions up on our website. So if you go to the St. Vincent de Paul Council website, under the section for Vincentians, that's a password protected section. If you click on Vincentian, you will see where it says forms. Click forms, and there is a form that says ACH payments for Spire, and it walks you through the steps of what you need to do with your bank and how you need to submit which pledges you are paying on. The password for our website, if you need it, is Vincent with a capital V. And if you have any problems with that, you are welcome to send me an email and I can put you in touch with our people at Spire, our contacts. But those who have tried it seem to be doing okay with it. So that's an update. I was asked by the Housing Task Force to give a very quick update on our rapid rehousing program. This is a program that the board approved in January of this year. And it is a program that really works towards sustainability with our transitionally homeless or with neighbors who are about to become homeless. And we have 22 neighbors in the program right now. Our goal was to serve 25 during this calendar year, and I believe we will do that. We are having great success with getting them rehoused and then having them work with a case manager at St. Patrick's Center to become self-sustaining. So Elizabeth gets to hear a lot more of those details in our Housing Task Force meetings. But we are very happy with our initial results, and the board has approved the expansion of that program in calendar year 2022, which means we hope to help more people and to expand our footprint into some of our rural districts as well. So we're excited about that. The last piece I have for you is on our pregnancy care program. And I know that some of your conferences are already working with women who are part of that partnership. So first, I want to thank you for doing that. This is a bit of a commitment to these women. We are involved because pregnancy care centers like Birthright and Thrive and Women's Care Connect have identified these women as being at risk, most of them as being at risk of having an abortion. And so by intervening and helping with some of the financial issues that these moms are facing during this crisis pregnancy, we're trying to make that not be part of their decision. We want them to know that St. Vincent de Paul is supporting them. So some of you are helping women in your conference, and some of you are doing this through special works. And so we thank you for that. It generally means checking on these moms throughout their pregnancy and being a source of friendship, offering prayers, and being a financial resource for them as well. So I thank you for that. Steve Rupp works closely on that partnership also. If you have a conference that is interested in serving a pregnant mom. Maybe if we don't have one in your area, you could do it as part of your special works. We are always looking for special works conferences to help with this effort. There are many moms who need our help. And you can reach out to Steve or I about that afterwards.
Okay, thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Ernestine.
Does anybody have any questions from Julie that hasn't come up?
Hey, Julie, what was that password again? I just dropped my pen a second.
Take your time. That's okay.
It's very easy.
Okay, I got it.
You got perfect. Yeah.
Perspired.
It is an easy password. So to go into the Vincentian section of our website, the password is Vincent with a capital V.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Julie.
Thank
I
you,
don't have a-
Ernestine.
I don't have a question for Julie, but I'm writing down the attendance and the one person with the number 2083. I don't know who they are.
Gwen, that's me. This is Marilyn Dilworth.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything, Steve, that you would like to say today?
Well, yeah, there's a few things if you don't mind. Let me
I don't mind.
grab my notes here. We have coming up St. Vincent de Paul Sunday on November the 7th, Sunday, November the 7th. And we've had information in the newsletter the last couple of months. And it basically it's an opportunity to be able to talk to your parish about the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, what you do on a regular basis. People are inspired when they hear what Vincentians do, and it inspires them to maybe get involved. It inspires them to maybe make a donation, clothing, food, monetary donation, whatever. But they are generally moved and inspired what Vincentians do on a daily basis. So this is an opportunity to be able to tell your story between now and that date, November the 7th, with stories in the bulletin. We had asked if you could get a hold of your pastor and work with your pastor to maybe do a pulpit talk. And we sent some information out on bullet points that you can use to be able to do a pulpit talk. There's also a letter that's coming out to all the pastors, it's probably already out, about the Society of St. Vincent de Paul and supporting the Society of St. Vincent de Paul as we approach this St. Vincent de Paul Sunday. And it's something that you can copy and hand out. You maybe after Mass, you can stand in the vestibule at the rear of Mass and hand out that letter from the Archbishop. You can hand out a flyer that you might make up yourself. It could just be a one-page flyer talking about what your conference does on a daily basis, and telling people that we thank you for your support, and if there's anything that you want to do for us, we'd be more than happy to talk to you. And so it's a great opportunity, St. Vincent de Paul Sunday, to tell the story to the parish of what you do every day. So that is coming up November the 7th. Also, we have coming up on March the 26th. Put this on your calendar. March 26th, Saturday, March 26th, we have our spring assembly. Who is, by show of hands, who was at our spring assembly at St. Louis University High School a couple of years ago? Looks like there's quite a few. Wasn't that one of the most inspiring events you've ever been to as a Vincentian? That's what I'm quoting what some of our Vincentians have said to us. That was the best event I've ever attended as a Vincentian. It was fabulous. I got to share stories at our table with people I didn't know. There were hundreds of people. We had great speakers, great information, great fellowship, great spirituality. We started with Mass. We had songs. It was just an absolutely fabulous day. And we're going to try and do it even better this time. And surpass even 500 people. And people are anxious right now to see each other. I mean, these Zoom meetings are fine, and there's a place for them. But I think everybody would probably admit, I would much rather be sitting across the table from you right now, looking into your face. And we aren't there yet. But hopefully by March of next year, we will be. So put that on your calendar. Every Vincentian is invited. You're going to get great information. Again, great spirituality, great friendship. It's just going to be a glorious, glorious day. You don't want to be the one that said, "Oh, shucks, I should have gone. I heard it was great." You be the one that's telling other people, "Oh, you should have gone. That was great," because it will be. All right. So, what else? Oh, we have been talking about what the term has been coined as sister conferences. Basically, sister conferences is another term, if you will, for twinning, but taking twinning to a different level of being able to have more formalized relationships between a conference that has need but few resources and a conference that has resources but little need. Now, we've been doing twinning since the beginning of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul 187 years ago. This is nothing new. But what is new is, as things are evolving in our archdiocese, we're seeing a greater need for conferences that really do have tremendous needs but few resources. Having a conference that is willing to basically take them under their wing, become a sister conference to them that not only twins finances, but twins people, to be able to help take calls, to be able to help schedule appointments, to be able to go on home visits, to be a greater part of that conference as a sister conference. And we're mapping out the details right now. One of the things that we're doing first off is through our district presidents, like Ernestine, is getting an inventory, if you will, of what twinning relationships already exist in your conference. Who are you twinning with? Who are you sending money to? Who are you sending people to? Who are you receiving money from? Who are you getting help from? And if we can get a kind of an inventory, if you will, of all of those relationships, then we can start addressing, okay, where are we missing needs? Where are we not utilizing resources that we have that can help others? But we have to kind of figure out, where are we first before we have an opportunity to be able to say, okay, here's where we're going to go. And so that's where we are in that process. You've been hearing significantly about that, I think. And that's, matter of fact, Barry, I know you're on the call. Those are the three issues I wanted to talk about. And I don't know if you want to add anything to any of those.
Yeah, not necessarily. I just want to say that we are looking really forward to being able to be in person for our spring assembly, and we decided for the Advent to keep it as a home-based retreat for now, but we are moving in the direction of doing more in-person events, so that's something to celebrate. And also, I wanted to add a little bit about the pastoral planning meeting we just went to a week ago. Some of you have probably read that the Archdiocese is undergoing a planning process, and they're being guided by the Catholic Leadership Institute with that. Father Chris Martin has been named the Vicar of Strategic Planning. And basically what they're doing is they're really, it's called All Things New. The whole process is they're really thinking about the church in the next century in the Archdiocese of St. Louis. I mean, it's pretty broad and it's a pretty vast outlook that they're trying to approach it with. And they're starting with the recognition that the church needs to re-evangelize or approach mission differently. The mission of the church in the United States was very much influenced by immigrant communities, and the immigrant communities moved into different parts of cities and pretty much stayed together, and that helped those cultures stay strong, and people got established in the cities, and the church was very strong in those places. But as the immigrant communities became more and more integrated and dispersed, the church has changed a lot. And then, of course, other things have changed as well in terms of the demographics of less children being born in Catholic families, and some other factors, population shifting from one place to another. So the question is how do we better utilize the resources that the church has, and grow the church and really participate in the new evangelization that has been called for, recognizing that from that plan, there will be infrastructure changes, but it's not the archdiocese doesn't want to see it as a plan that is focused on infrastructure changes first, but instead on a pastoral plan, how to better do pastoral ministry in this age. And so in the next 2 years, they'll be undergoing that strategic planning process. And then Pentecost in 2023, the actual plan will be released. And so as part of that, there will likely be some mergers and consolidations, and it could look, the face of the archdiocese could look different in many respects. And so we'll be participating in and preparing for that for the next 1.5 to 2 years. And again, it will be Pentecost in 2023 when the plan will actually be released. And so at this point, input is being solicited, and there's a lot of listening going on that's being facilitated by the archdiocese. And there's representatives from each one of your parishes who are participating in this process as well. So we're gonna, we've been invited to participate in the process as the council of the society, as council staff, and we're going to continue to keep you all abreast of changes and what the plans are as we become more familiar with them.
Thanks, Barry.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any questions for Barry? Anything for Steve? Does anyone, any conference that's here would like to share a story or something that has happened, you know, with their conference, something that they think that everybody should know?
This is Dean Talley, St. Richard. I've got a question. I don't know whether Steve is the one or not. I just sent a email to you the other day, Steve, and I realized later realized it's 2 days after the scoop. I'd already talked about the 1099 miscellaneous. It's going to be involved in needing information sent down to the council. Is there going to be any word on that tonight? If not, I saw in the scoop where somebody's going to be looking into it and getting to us eventually.
Yeah, Julie, would you like to address that? Do you mind? Because Julie's been on top of this, Dean.
Okay.
So ultimately, any tax filings for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul are the responsibility of the council office. So for right now, we are asking you to stay the course. If your conference is coming to the council for help with things, program requests, then we do request that W-9 and we are reporting on that. We are looking at how we can now work to get the information from conferences who might be paying a bill completely on their own. So maybe your conference has paid $1,000 in rent to a landlord. That landlord ultimately should be getting a 1099. And we're working with our finance team to come up with the best way for that to happen. So for right now, we just ask you to stay the course, keep doing what you're doing, and there will be more information coming out as we come up with those procedures.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Because it looks like there could potentially be quite a bit of reporting that I, as the treasurer, would need to be sending in to you at the council each year, which I'm saying I can do, but it's obviously a lot more information flow than there currently is.
So I will tell you two things. One that I told my own conference last night, and that is if you do not ask for W-9s at this point, it would probably be a good practice to start asking for W-9s when you are paying a landlord or paying for a service. So that'll be a good habit to get into. Any conference that requests help from the council is already providing that, but that would be a good practice to get in the habit of. And while we don't have it all worked out yet, if you are in serveware, that is also, I think, going to be key to us being able to get that information. So again, we're still working on those details, and we'll be coming back to you with that in time. But I would encourage, if you're not, to begin asking for W-9s.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I do. Dave Holton with Annunciata. How is the pregnancy care program going? We've had experience with two girls, one very successful and the other one not. And I'm just curious as far as how it's going, because we haven't. We felt that our conference could probably handle two at a time. We're trying to get more people in to help out to try and to take on more, but I have not heard anything else. And also, once we have a girl and she goes through the process, she has her baby and everything's going okay, just how long do we keep her in the system, as far as, what is our responsibility? Because we are at that point right now with a young lady, and she's doing well. She's doing everything that she said she would do, but I just don't know how long do we keep helping her on her rent and whatever. And the other one we had ended up getting an abortion. And so do we, since that happened, do we still help that person or what? However, that person has not stayed in touch with us. So we figured, okay, well, we've reached out and she's not reciprocating. So we felt, all right, she's on her own as far as we're concerned. So, I'd just like to get some light on that, please.
So Dave, I'll start, and then I'll let Steve, who has been working with the Pregnancy Care Partnership longer than I have, weigh in as well. And I'll begin by saying thank you to your conference. We have a lot of moms in crisis, pregnant moms in crisis, and your conference's willingness to help out, especially moms outside of your parish boundaries, is significant. So thank you. It doesn't always go the way we want, as you just mentioned. And I think your handling of that case was spot on. We don't judge people, and your willingness to reach back out to her as a fellow human being, I think, is noteworthy. And sometimes the best we can offer people are our prayers, but you've reached out to her and she knows where she can go for help if she needs it. The mom who's doing well, that's awesome. I mean, that's really what we want to hear. And so that warms my heart. How long you help that mom is ultimately up to your conference to decide. There really is no magic formula. We know that what seems to be the pattern is early in the pregnancy, these moms need help, and then late in the pregnancy, when that baby's ready to be born, when they're not able to work their shifts, maybe they don't have maternity leave if they're working an hourly job, they're needing help again. And then they're back to work and becoming self-sustaining again. But ultimately, it's your conference's decision as you work with her, really to decide when that, the baby's born, she's doing okay. And you can refer her, if she's outside of your boundaries, that if she should need something down the road, that she can call her home conference as well for that at that point. But ultimately, that's your conference's decision to make. We do have a session coming up next week on the 20th, and we're going to host 2 sessions in November. 30-minute Zoom sessions. Steve and I and Dolly Darmody and a few of the life coordinators that had worked with the program previously are going to be on Zoom at 1:00 on Wednesday, the 3rd Wednesday of the month, 1st and 3rd Wednesdays. And we're opening up for that 30 minutes. We'll stay on longer if people come on, but we're just going to be there to answer questions. Maybe you need resources. Maybe you want to know when is enough enough. Whatever it might be, we're just going to be there to kind of hear your stories, to celebrate your successes, and to offer resources and suggestions if you are looking for those as well. So that'll be another opportunity for you to hear, if you are doing this work, how others are doing as well. Steve, what did I miss?
No. You covered some great ground. Just a couple of thoughts, though, that your question, Dave, at the beginning of how's the program itself going? Extremely well. And I make that statement based on several things. Number one, we have gotten such positive feedback from conferences that have said this has meant so much to our Vincentians. Be involved at this level of somebody's life that is really hurting, really confused, and we're able to step in there and be the face of Christ for them. And the gratitude, the thanks that we get is just overwhelming. And to know that we glorified God by helping a child come into this world and saving that mom from the consequences of abortion. It just lifts us up. And we've heard that from conferences. One conference was so excited, they had a baby shower for their new baby that was born. Weren't they? Julie, they were so excited. The opportunity to be able to celebrate this new life and to celebrate that mom. And so the overall, Dave, the numbers are startlingly positive in terms of the number of moms that are coming to us that are abortion minded, and the vast majority of them are having their babies. We've had a few that did not make life affirming decisions, but it's very much in the minority. And so this has been so powerful from the perspective of our Vincentians and their own growth in their faith through their service to these moms, and creating those friendships where they have a baby shower, and then the numbers are following up. And to reiterate something that Julie said, as far as following these moms for how long, and again, there's no prescription. Every case that you get, whether it's a pregnant mom or not, you make that decision as a conference. One of the knocks on the Catholic Church from the abortion community is you don't care about children once they're born. You only care about them when they're in the womb, which is pure hogwash. Look at what we do every single day for families. Every day we are helping families that with newborns. They don't even have to come through the pregnancy program, but we're helping people, and we are helping those moms. And we had one of our district presidents say, when that question was asked of them, they said, "Shucks, we've had families we've been helping for 15 years." So we don't know that length of time. We strive to be able to help these moms, like we do everybody, to become sustainable, to get over these difficult patches in their life and help them become sustainable, so that they don't need us anymore. and that's what we do every day. And I thank you, Dave. You have been so enthusiastic about this program. I greatly appreciate that. And it have all of our research. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. You mentioned the baby shower. On this one that's been a success is that we put that out in the bulletin that she had her baby and that we were looking for stuff. And so we had a kind of a virtual baby shower, and the stuff was dropped off at the church for this guy. It was just unbelievable. Brought tears to your eyes. And people want to participate. And we're fortunate enough in our conference to where we're able to give a lot. We don't have the situations of within our own boundaries that where we can go and visit somebody. So when we get somebody like this in the fold, our parishioners and our Vincentians really want to get into it, and they're saying that we want more. And so the new people that we've contacted specifically said, I really want to be hands-on. I said, well, if you want to be hands-on, we can get you involved. And so right now it's the officers, especially our secretary, who physically goes down and visits with her, with one that we have now. And she says, it's just, it's so fulfilling. It is so fulfilling. And with this particular one also, once she got to that point and she's all caught up with her bills and I think she's getting a job or whatever, because we were discussing, well, how much longer should we go? Well, she ends up moving into one of the conferences that we help out anyway.
Oh,
So based on that, that we're going to just kind of continue if she wants to help, and so it's just, so that's a good story. And we need to hear those stories, unfortunately, they don't happen a whole lot, but they're there. And that's what I like hearing. So anyway, thank you.
So Dave, if I can just piggyback on that, and I know this is more than just the Pregnancy Care Partnership meeting, but I will say that I heard from one of your Vincentians who was working with a mom who was a teenage mom who had been kicked out of her home when she was pregnant. And your conference has walked with that young mom. And I know that young mom has had the baby because the Vincentian emailed me. This was early summer. And she said, my mother-in-need's baby is now 3 weeks old. Mom and son are doing well, thank God. My husband and I visited them and all are ready for the next part of the journey. She knows she needs to find a job in childcare. I have resources for the childcare subsidy. I'll help as I'm able to, and she will eventually be set in the transition to being a working mom. We know that eventually she will be confident on her own, but for now she is fine. And she just goes on to say how much the program has meant to her as well as to this young mom who needed her help and the help of the society. So really, there are great stories coming out of this and good things happening for people. And so that one came specifically from your conference. So I thought I'd share.
And people in the parish want to hear those stories. Okay, well, so we're giving you all money. What is happening? So that's important to get out and to get that word out to the to the parishioners and let them know that what you contribute is helping a lot of people, and they need to know that.
including your
David?
Vincentian.
It's
What-
also helpful, Dave, if you ever want a twin. We had several board meetings. Ernestine, is it all right if I talk a minute?
Sure.
We had several board meetings in rural areas. We were down in DeSoto, we were down in St. Genevieve, we were down in Festus. I mean, I've been to several areas that are a little more remote. And those conferences down there are having a hard time. So if there's an opportunity that you have an extra 5,000, I'm talking to specific people here on this screen. If you have an extra 5, you might also want to share with some of those conferences. One of the ones down there, St. Rose of Lima, they have a little thrift store. They operate totally by Vincentians. There's no connection to the thrift stores that we have in our area. And they gave us the tour, but they had no beds to give to anyone. So I asked a conference in the South District to give the money and to share their credits that they had to St. Rose, and now they have beds to give to those families down there. It is awesome. I mean, that was really, really, I know I sound corny, but when I go to bed at night, I really thank God for my bed. And I just think for people to have a bed is just so basic. And so as the season is going into Christmas and Thanksgiving, I think those are beautiful things to share with your parish as well, that, hey, we gave 25 beds to a rural parish that needed it. And I think there's opportunities there. I hear everything you're doing. You're all doing wonderful things. I joke, and it offends the board and it offends sometimes the council office, but sometimes we're not as important as the conferences. You are the ones doing the real work. And for 187 years, whatever our number is now, You deserve all the accolades for what you're doing. But I want you all to get together as friends. If that November 7th date is an opportunity for your conference to get together on the front porch of your church and have a donut and have a nice time, kind of show off what you're doing at your conference, I want you to take that opportunity. I will treat to the donuts. I will get them to you. I will come if you invite me. But I want you to make that time for your conference to have a nice time, because we're all kind of coming out of this COVID thing, and we do need to get together a little bit. Okay. Anyway, I don't have anything heavy to say except twinning and friendship. And I let the council office tend to all the tough stuff. So I get to come in and say soft stuff. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, I'm always here for you all. So just know that. Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ernest. My God bless you, my friend.
Is there anything anyone else like to say? I think Andrew is on. He may have something.
Yes, thanks, Ernestine. Can you hear me now?
I don't forget.
All right. So I have a couple soft things, to use Elizabeth's phrase there. Barry had kind of mentioned the Advent retreat, so I just want to give a little more information about that and let you know that you're all invited to attend. It is Saturday, December 4th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And as Barry mentioned, it's going to be home-based and delivered via Zoom. And, you know, again, just to reiterate, we're so hungry to do things in person, but it's just not quite there, especially for these larger groups. And that's why we're looking forward to the assembly in March. But the subject matter for this Advent retreat is going to be Vincentian holiness. And in particular, we're going to be featuring some lay Catholic scientists who can serve as models for us. We have a really good lineup. We have Tim Williams, he's the National Formation Director, be presenting Vincentian from St. Vincent de Paul Conference, Holly Scheibel, and our own Barry Shadle will be presenting. And if you joined us last year for the Advent retreat, it was a wonderful experience, and we're going to try and replicate as much as we can. November 8th, we have our last home visit 101 session for the year, and all of your Vincentians are invited to attend, you know, as we start doing more and more home visits and so on, just to get the, you know, an overview of the basics and the why and how a home visit works and, you know, questions that might come up. It's one of our 2 core offerings along with the Ozanam orientation. And Ernestine, I might send you some links, you know, afterwards. So if you could send those out, that would be great. And for 2022, you know, you got the Marquee Spring Assembly. We're working to build out that schedule as well. So look for a full slate of Ozanam orientations, home visit 101s, retreats, and other types of formation opportunities in 2022. And just want to end with a thank you to all of you for everything that you do, and just kind of sitting here listening to the selflessness and being and seeing the face of Christ that you all do. So really appreciate it. And thank you, Ernestine, for your leadership.
Thank you.
Andrew, when you said, it almost sounded like you said lay Catholic scientists. I think it was how it came through, but it's lay Catholic saints.
Yeah.
That have some connection to the Vincentian tradition. And so, so far, Tim Williams has chosen Blessed Frederick Ozanam. He presented on him at the National Assembly and just does an amazing job at that. I'm choosing Louis and Zelly Martin, which are the new saints, well, newly canonized, who were the parents of Therese of Lisieux. And Louis Martin was a Vincentian. And so we're going to learn a little bit more about him and just their holiness in the context of family and parenthood. And we're not quite sure who Holly's going to choose yet. So you can be surprised on that one.
Thank you, Barry, for the correction. One of my sort of hobbies is researching Catholic scientists, and sometimes that comes out accidentally. So yeah, lay saints, but there are some saints who were scientists as well. But.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else someone has to say? I'm gonna let everybody, all my conferences know that I will be getting in touch with you because we're gonna talk about inventory for the 20 card reports. I need to know your meeting dates because I would like to visit each one of you in our meetings, in your meetings, that is. So just have on hand or the dates and your time, and then I can kind of get it all together so that I can be able to visit all of the meetings. I really don't have anything too much to say, but I just want to say thank you to Julie and Elizabeth, Barry, Steve, and Andrew for being on and taking on this task for this meeting. I'm gonna ask one last time, is there anything anyone else has to say? Nobody?
Ernestine, let me just say this real quick.
Uh-huh.
I forgot to mention, we've been following up with after all these meetings with some formation materials, and we'll do that with the Advent flyer. We'll send it to you. And also I've been sending out something that National provides. It's a guide or a formation plan that we found helpful. We also made it available in our newsletter, but we will be following up. We'll send it out to you, Ernestine, and you can forward it as you see appropriate.
Okay.
That
I
sounds good.
appreciate that, Barry. Okay.
So,
If there's okay.
let me say something. Elizabeth, how do I find out more about the World Conferences?
Oh, David, that is so kind of you to take
Would I
my
co-
part.
Would I contact you or somebody else or what?
You may contact me, and I always work with Ernestine. Ernestine and I
Okay.
are on the phone at least once a week.
Okay.
You know, but I do have some inside information about some of these conferences that are truly struggling in these rural areas. So if you and I've got you in my speed dial, so, you know, if you call me, I can give you the names.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll mention it to our conference, just talk it over with them, and I don't want to get in trouble here. So
No, I don't either. I feel your pain. Yeah.
Because I think we discussed this once before, and I don't know what happened, but but it sounds like that there's a real need there. So
well, and it truly was Queen of All Saints, and I went to the Walk for the Poor over there in the South District because they're going through some changes in that district, and it was awesome. They had so many blue shirts in that walk. And but they also had a whole bunch of credits. I just think they didn't realize completely that I could also take their cash and put it over with another conference, but they also had credits. So if you have a lot of credits in your conference and you'd like to share them, credits can be shared as well. So I just tell you that I don't know your credits as much as I know some other information, but if you have extra credits, those can be shared as well, which is very nice. Right? Right. Okay. All right,
Thank
David,
you.
let's get in touch.
You just made me remember something. I just had a shirt made out and we wore it to the Immaculata for the Walk of the Poor. It had St. Vincent de Paul logo on front, and in the back it had Mid Central District, and I had all 11 of the conferences on there. I was going to send the information to everybody if they would like to have one, because it turned out to be really nice. And I was surprised that people had asked about it and they didn't even belong to Mid Central.
I love it. Well, that must be, what do you think that was the same kind of shirt that they were wearing over in the South District, Steve? Is everybody making these shirts?
Some do.
I don't know.
And they look great up in Immaculata. I was there and they look fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Elizabeth, how do we find out what our conference has in credits with the thrift shop? Because we never look into it and I don't have any idea whether we have one or.
Thank you for asking. You called Laura, right, Julie? Laura down there at the council office?
Yes, so you can either, and I apologize, I don't know Laura's direct line, but you can call on the main line, which is 881-6000, or you can email Laura, which is Laura S@svdpstl.org.
Thank you.
And Laura keeps a tally. The only thing she won't have are those that you've given out recently, because it's dependent on your neighbor to use that voucher at the store and then it to make it, the voucher to make its way down to the council office. So there's a little lag time.
Thank you very much.
And also remember, conferences, if you have extra credits, please give them to another conference that doesn't have any, to keep them from paying what little money they do have. It'll be very much appreciated.
One conference had like 5,000 credits because they had Vincentians that volunteered at the stores. And so they really accumulated a whole lot. So, I mean, they were very happy to share. I just tell you that.
Right. Okay. It's 7:58. We did real good. At least we didn't get a chance to eat.
No.
So maybe I'm hoping that we can have an in-person meeting so that we can see one another. Right now I'm on my phone and I can't see but one person, and I don't like that.
No.
So, yeah, so I'm hoping we be able to have one, because that's what I really wanted to do. But a lot of people were a little afraid about coming out. So this was about the second best thing that I could do.
You did fine.
But we hope that we can do it again at our next meeting. Okay, I'm just going to ask one more time, because we always seem to find something to say. Is there anything that they would like to say that they think that was very important for us all to know?
Okay.
Well, Steve, if you don't mind praying us out, I would really appreciate it.
Oh, he did phenomenal. I would definitely ask him.
Well, our gospel, I don't know if you remember the gospel last week, that the apostles asked Jesus to teach them how to pray. And he taught them the perfect prayer, the Our Father. So why don't we say the perfect prayer?
Okay.
Our Father,
Who art
hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
thy
Thy kingdom come,
thy
thy
will
will be done on
On
earth
earth
in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give
Give us this day our daily bread,
Daily bread.
and
forgive
forgive
us our trespasses,
Trespasses,
as
as we forgive those
trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation,
temptation, but
but
deliver us.
deliver us from evil. Amen.
thine kingdom power. Amen.
In the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
In the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Steve, okay, we have to give Almighty God, his due. That prayer was better than yours. I mean, we have to kind of, we can't, I can only give you so many accolades here.
Not 7 times, but 77 times better than mine.